Do 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 do. All right, cool, sweet. Finally, after an hour of fighting with settings and inputs and scenes. Oh my god, I am so tired. Oh, I'm quite happy I've chosen not to play a game today. So I was trying really hard to get a game on stream today, but man, after that, fucking, I literally just spent the last hour trying to get my new camera to work. Um, because let's see if we can move you back. Okay, I think that was my new camera turning off. It was great. And today is cursed as hell. No, I don't want to enter the removal, motherfucker. This is what I've literally been dealing with for the last hour. Ay, 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 ay. Alright, give me a couple minutes. Think I can get this working pretty quick again. Pressing the photo button. Apologies. Hello. Yeah, so I've got some really cool ones to show off. I'm just still fighting with my camera. Um, Part of today is intended to be a dry run. Of new head camera. So, um, okay. Well, that's not working. That's great. One second. Yes, please. Okay. Come on. Deactivate. Ay, 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 ay. Man. Activate. There we go. Okay. Now I'm not touching shit. Everything else is staying as it is. Okay. Holy hell. Back to close cam. Oh, okay. No more touching any more PC things. Oh, I've been literally fighting with this for an hour. Alright, so what do we got today? Well, um, I've got some Chaos Dwarves. But they're not the normal Chaos Dwarves. Or that is to say, they're not the GW ones. What I've got are the ones from Station Forge Legacy. So last month in their tribe up at my mini factory, they started a whole faction of Chaos Dwarves. And I think they look dope as shit. And I liked the GW models, but goddamn they expensive. Like, they're so expensive that I don't feel good buying them. You know what I mean? I don't even feel good asking someone else to buy them. Like, I had them on because my parents asked me for like a what do I want for Christmas, right? So I sent them an Amazon list. I had the Chaos Dwarfs on there, and I took them off because I didn't feel good about asking because they're just too fucking expensive. Like, oh, it's just terrible. So, um, yeah. So these guys are I already subscribed to that tribe anyway, and then I saw these guys come through, and I was like, all right, that's dope as hell. We're gonna paint ourselves up some Chaos Dwarves for these guys here. So these guys, they're gonna get painted up as part of my like Diablo-y Hell Legion, like the Beastmen Satyr guys that we did before. So they're gonna get painted up with that. All right, so we built some of these on the channel, and like the imps and stuff, and the demons and all that. We've all painted that up on the channel before. So, but we're gonna get working on these guys and see what we got. But they're all gonna, and the intent is to get them to match and be part of that like Hell Legion because I think it's pretty cool. So we're gonna switch over to headcam. Now I'm gonna hope headcam works. I am trying. The problem is, I think like it's hard to look at the thing and look at headcam and see. Right? There you go. All right. So we're gonna try out headcam today because I like the idea of headcam. I think it's kind of fun. And I think it will be very fun when we go to play game to be able to see like what I'm seeing during one of like my like kind of let's play kind of games. I think it'll be really fun for that. So, all right. So this is probably going to be terrible, but we're going to do it because I think it's neat. So this is death metal from Warpaint's Fanatics. I love this color. This is my like hell metal color. I kind of use for like all of like my like evil armor. Um, it's like a peridot kind of brass color. I think it's just dope. So we're gonna do honestly majority of this model in this, um, because a lot of him is armor, right? A lot of this little fire plug here is like all armor. So we're gonna actually be doing a lot of this. And we're gonna have to figure out a way actually to mix in some other colors so that he's not just one giant like RoboCop looking dwarf block, right? So, so up on my mini factory for these guys, they do also have instruments, they have banners, they have um, there's instruments, there's banners, there's spears. So they have other options too if you don't like these like big cleaver swords, but I was super into the big cleaver swords. I think they're really fun. They're just like unnecessarily like vicious looking, and I think it's pretty dope. So we're gonna try to just get this kind of everywhere, and then we're gonna go back and fill in our areas after that. I actually have the horns of Hashut that I've had for like ever, and I should paint those up to go with my like Hell Legion as well. Yeah, because I started building this like Hell group as a team for like an enemy team for what is that? What is that called? Frostgrave, right? And they showed up a couple times as enemies when I was playing Frostgrave on the channel, pretty regularly. Um, but I don't know. I like the idea of kind of having like themed groups of bad guys for different games. I think that's kind of fun. So I've got like all the purple void monster stuff that I've done on the channel, right? With all the like tentacles and goo creatures and all that kind of stuff, right? But I like the idea of also having like a very like I don't know, kind of classic-y looking like Hell Force. I think that's kind of fun too. So This is also spurred on the fact because I started playing Diablo again recently, and that's just been really fun. I played the living hell out of Diablo 3. Um, Back then, I worked in a pharmacy, and it was hella, hella stressful. Like, just insanely stressful, like, unhumanly stressful. Um, and zoning out and like grinding in Diablo 3 was just an amazing way to calm down after doing all that. So I like super played the living hell out of Diablo 3. Um, I hadn't played Diablo 4 until recently. And then yeah, I picked it up and got really enjoying it. It was very fun. Had a really really good time with it. Kind of beat the season, and then I'm sort of waiting for the next one to start. Although honestly, this time of year is kind of rough for gaming because so many like computer games and stuff are coming out right now. It's really hard to decide which ones to play. Um, so I play a lot of Warframe. I've talked about that a ton on the channel. I just absolutely love Warframe. That's getting an update. Path of Exile, which I also play, is getting an update. Yeah, just absolutely crazy the amount of updates and content. All right, so we're gonna let him sit for a second while I get some paint on another one because that'll let him dry because we really don't want to get up to too much while he's still wet. So we'll let him dry a little bit and we'll work on another one in the meantime. So Station Forge hasn't done any other models for these Chaos Dwarfs yet, but that's because they just came out in last month. So I'm expecting this month we're going to get some updates, like maybe some bull centaurs or a big cow robot, something like that. I'm kind of expecting from Station Forge this month. So if they don't do that, I think I'm going to be pretty disappointed, to be honest, because these are really dope. They're very dope. So, and like all the Station Forge stuff, they have tons of detail, but not so much that like it's not fun to paint. Because sometimes you get the models and they just have so much detail that they're just not fun to paint. It's like, do you really want to sit there and paint ropes going through skulls for fucking 2 hours? Yeah, me neither, bro. I could rather do a whole different dude in that time. So, yeah. All right, let's see. Headcam is weird, man, but I'm getting the hang of it. I gotta figure out how to like sit normally with it. I don't know. It's strange. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to figure it out. Unfortunately, you can also see how messy my desk is. Usually with the other camera, you can't see that. You can see some of the other fun stuff, right? We got Bear Monster. He's gonna be part of my Void Force. We got Slaneshi Demons. I was working on their Jizz bases again. There's some. These are also from Station Forge. I printed a couple of them out as like a color test because I thought it'd be neat just to have some generic kind of bug monsters. I actually thought they might be kind of cool to be monsters for BattleTech. I thought they might be pretty dope for that. Um, so I was thinking about that too. But yeah, let's see. We got some jackals. We got some of the partisans that we worked on that I haven't finished. I finished a couple of these, but not all of them. We got a titty cow lady who I need to finish for corn. Here's some of the Hell Riders, right? And here's one of the GW Riders. The GW Riders are much fancier, right? But I kind of like the derpy closiness of this. Like this one looks like it needs a hug. This dog looks angry. So yeah. Here's a spooky scary skeleton that we did on Halloween, whose base I have not finished yet. Started, but I haven't finished it. Yeah, my undead are a little annoying, their bases are, so. All right, so let's see what we got. You're just gonna break out some silver. Kind of any kind of silver here will do. So this is chainmail from Vallejo, but really anything will do. I just want to do the sword and something because there's already so much metal on this guy. Um, so why not add some more, right? Boop 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 a doop boop 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 a doop. But yeah, all my health stuff, I've been doing this like really classic kind of like red demon skin, and I'm quite happy with it. Um, it kind of ties all the models together, which is nice in a way that I think if I made them separate, I don't think they would tie together very well. Because some of them are very not dressed, like what clothes is this guy wearing? He has a leather wrap on his arm, like that's it. So because of that, it's hard to get some kind of matching color wise for him. All right, so the skin being the matching color is kind of neat. And if all these guys are supposed to be some kind of variant of demon, I think that's pretty fitting for matching skin then. All right, now we're gonna do his chainmail in silver as well, because even though this is scale mail, I want to do more than one color on his armor. You know what I mean? Um, I think he'll look better if he has a couple different colors. Oh, also, it's worth pointing out, new lights today. So I got some LED lights that I've set up as indirect lighting because they are so goddamn bright that you will go blind if you look at them. So they are set up as indirect lighting kind of around the room. And I'm quite happy with that. I think it's really nice. I think one of the reasons I haven't been painting as much lately is because the lights I had previously kind of were just dying. Um, and that's not any critique of those lights. Those lights were great. I just legitimately had them for like 10 years. Like, no shit. um, so, you know, yeah, those lights were wonderful, but their time had passed. All right. So the red color that I start off with the skin for these, this is the red color I use as the base. This is the Proacral Bow Pyrolic, Pyro, Pyral. It's the bold red from Proacral. I love the Proacral colors. They're just wonderful, and their red is probably the best I found. Um, like for a bright, kind of like in your face red. Now I'm gonna definitely have to touch up the helmet and stuff and his beard because we kind of gotta get in there, right? And some of these details are going to be hard to see until we get some of the color on them. So there we go. Does this helmet actually go around? Does he have open ear holes on his helmet? No, he doesn't. Okay. Okay. Bonk. These guys have these big mouths. Actually debating maybe doing their horns in red too. Let's see what that would look like if we did the horns in red. So yeah, this red is it's gonna get a brown wash over it, and then it will actually get hit with um, speed paint. So yeah, so it'll get a bunch of definition because right now the face is just kind of a blur, right? So it'll get working, promise. So all right, we need a color for the wrap on his sword, and we need a color for the um we need a color for his shield because his shield has some wood in it. So let me grab some of those. I'll be right back. Oh, right on top. All right. Oh, now we'll put head cam back on and we'll try it out. Back to head cam. Oh yeah. So, I think this camera's lined up pretty well with what I'm seeing, but like I said, it's hard for me to tell, but I think it is. I think it's lined up pretty well. So, all right. So let's break out the. Let's break out a wood color. In this case, it's gonna be leather brown from Army Painter. Now for these demons and stuff, I haven't had a like consistent leather or wood color. The only two colors that have been consistent are been the flesh color and the like armor metal color. Um, so the only two that have been consistent. Everything else has been kind of like I grab whatever's around, and I think honestly it works pretty well. Um, for some variation there, I don't think that's the end of the world, you know. All right, so we're probably gonna get a bunch of this on other stuff, and we'll just come back and clean it up afterwards, and that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I saw these and I was like, all right, they're really cool. We could paint the back there, but it's all good. It's fine with it just being metal color. Oop. Okay. And then got a whole lot of that, so I guess we'll. Man, his whole weapon is wrapped. Okay. Uh, I'll do some of it on you then, I guess. So what I printed out for these guys was I basically just printed out all of the cleavers and all of the bodies, um, and all the shield arms. But there is still a lot more in this set. Um, so they have like a grot like guy carrying a what are they called? Like a gong essentially. They have another guy who is got like a one-handed mace, and then they have a guy who has a big banner, and then they have, and by guys I mean they have like arm options to have like a big banner or whatever, right? Um, I assume the one-handed mace guy is to hit the gong, because the gong's being like carried on a grot's back, so I'm assuming that's what that is for. So I didn't print that one out. And there's options to have an entire group of guys with spears, and the spear designs are cool. But I really liked the big cleaver swords. They felt very like unnecessarily brutal, and I liked that. Right, like no finesse at all in this fucking sword, right? It's the sword is just here to chop. It's like an axe sword. I thought that was kind of cool and sort of fitting for what these kind of chaos dwarves are in my head, right? Um, just kind of like you know no nonsense kind of warrior things. I thought that was kind of fun. So let's see. We could turn some of this armor into a belt. So it looks like he has a belt on, but honestly, I think it works pretty good as scalloped armor. We could also paint in some of his hand as like he's wearing a glove, but he's not going to have a glove color anywhere else on him. There's no other cloth on him at all. So I think we'll actually leave that like it's armor, especially given that he has kind of like armored knuckles and stuff here on the back of the arm. And even this arm armor goes all the way up. Maybe the only area that's not armor is maybe like this little dot other than there. And I think honestly, I think we'll just ignore that. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. All right, let me get another coat of this red in, and then we'll paint in his beard, and then we can see if we can get in some more of the details. On his face, and what's gonna count those out. There we go. All right, because he has kind of so this is Brigandine Brown from War Paints. Again, he has kind of like tassels on the bottom of his beard, like metal tassels. So I'm not super mega sure what I'm gonna do with those yet. Part of me wants to pull another color in here because it's very, very monotone. So part of me wants to be like, okay, let's, I don't know, maybe pull some of the details out in gold or something, or maybe like copper. Um, but I don't know. There is also something kind of neat in the monotoneness of it, right? And it's very no nonsense. But yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe these actually aren't metal pieces. Maybe they're actually just braids with spikes in them. Actually, I think that's actually what it is. Yeah, I think that's braids with spikes. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll have to do a little touch up on his head. Yeah, I would like, I want like another color. I want like another color. What color do I want? Maybe like a brassy color. What would I do in a brassy color? I would do this skull and these tusks. I would do the hilt of his sword. I don't know. Choices, choices. None of the other hell stuff has like a brassy color, I don't think. Let me grab some other hell stuff and we can look at it real quick. Some of the other finished hell stuff. Give me one sec, let me see. Okay, so let's see what we got. So the imps, yeah, so the imps, which are made out of the Wargames Atlantic goblins, they don't really have any other color. They got the death metal. The demons, which are the Wargames Atlantic Frostgrave demons, same thing. Yeah, same thing. Oh, if you wanted, these guys are nicely sized because they're short but thick. Um, and I think that's pretty cool. So like, I think they work really well as dwarfs because they're legitimately like twice the thickness of this dude here, but they are shorter, and I think that's pretty dope. All right, so you can see him against against the Beastman, right? Who's a whole head taller, right? And the Beastman's a little bit taller than the demon. So I think it's cool. It really makes them look super stocky, right? But they are still smaller, right? Um, they're a little bit taller than the imps, and I think that's pretty much where I exactly want them. I think that's pretty good. So, all right. So we won't do any other color on the armor. We'll just keep the one color. Even though I kind of want to do another color, I really also just want it to match. So, okay. So, what do we need to do? We need to touch up the metal color and then any other areas that need touch up before we break out a wash. So, his face here is going to need some touch up. So a lot of the detail in his face you're not going to see until we wash it, unfortunately. So that kind of sucks, to be honest. But it's all right. And then a couple other little areas that I dinged as well. Like down here in these ribs I dinged. Stuff like that. I'm gonna make sure all the tines on the helmet are painted because they're a kind of thing that'd be really easy to miss. Or like this little tooth here on the sword, we can get that in. Alright. But yeah, this tribe I've been nothing but thrilled with. They did a bunch of like techno space dwarves that are really neat in this one. They're supposed to be like fantasy dwarves, like what are the GW fantasy space dwarves called? They're like flying dwarves. They're supposed to be like those, but they're really cool looking, and they've done a ton of really cool Skaven stuff, including a bunch of like uh like Asian inspired kind of like monks and assassins and stuff that are just, oh my god, they're fucking fantastic. They're so good. That group is called the Rotfang Assassins, by the way, if you want to look it up on my mini factory. Oh, they're so fantastic. I want to print them out. But I have an entire Skaven army to rebase. As much as I love painting rats. I actually have some more rats to paint right now. Painting rats is, I don't know. Painting rats is special to me, so I kind of save my rats, to be honest, for when I'm feeling really bad. Yeah, so I kind of paint them on special occasion. All right. Okay. Let's hit this silver with whatever's left in the silver thing here. Or if it gets more silver up. But, yeah. Man, getting my PC to recognize this camera was a pain in the tail. So you guys, well, actually, if I pick my head up, you guys can see it. But there's all new wiring for all of my stuff that runs the stream setup. So it means that everything kind of runs through one USB hub now. But apparently, this head camera, which is why I got that USB hub, doesn't like that USB hub, so now I'm running my old USB hub in addition to the current USB hub. Yeah, it's a thing. It was a big pain in the tail about an hour ago, so but we got there. We got it working. And that's all that matters. We got through it. We figured it out. You know, sometimes stuff sucks and you just got to figure it out. That's how it be. That's what we did. All right. And then let's see this. Might as well just use up the rest of this paint for a minute. So I am going to try to give that guy a second or two to cure before I hit him with washes. So we're going to work on Mr. Mace as well. That's what we're going to do. Because the other guy, he's actually already ready for washes, but I want to give him a little bit before we hit the washes. Just because washes work a little better when the paint has had a little bit to cure, right? Even if it's like a minute, it's better than nothing, you know? So usually what I like to do is I like to get all my paints to a like wash level, to where they're like ready to be washed. And then I go and take a break and play video game or eat lunch or something, and I'll come back after that, and then I'll do my washes. That's usually what I like to do. But on stream, obviously, it doesn't afford that time, right? And there have been times in the past where I have pre-painted one mini, got him to the wash step, and then painted everything up to the wash step, and then switched to the other mini, and that works really well. But I didn't think about doing that last night. To be honest, most of yesterday was kind of a wash. Yeah. It was a very fun day. I had a good day. I don't mean to say that it was a wash as like it was a waste, because it was a really fun day. We went out to go see the new um, like combination cut, I guess, of Kill Bill. That was fun, and I hadn't seen Kill Bill 2 in since like when it came out. I don't think like legitimately there was like half that movie I didn't remember. So that was really fun. Um, and it was a good time, right? It was cool. But it means that you know, watching 5 hours of Kill Bill takes up a good chunk of the day, you know. So didn't get some other stuff done. But all right, let's see. What else? I guess we could do this guy's beard too. I could do their beards in a color that would stand out more, but I'm trying to do all the flesh on these, on all my hell stuff, kind of the same color, and same thing for the hair, right? So um, you can kind of see it on this wolf here. This is this color, and then it has chaos red dry brushed over top of it. So that's kind of what all the hair colors on these guys are looking like. So we're actually going to do the same thing on this guy. But it's such a small area, we can't really do a dry brush. So I'm going to take a little bit, and we're just going to kind of streak some in. That's what we're going to do. Kind of stipple and streak it in there, just so he's got a little bit of that kind of red hair in there too. All right, that's what we're going to try to do. All right, let me get some washers, and I'll be back in a sec. Oh. You know what? I do actually want to give this guy another minute to dry. So we're going to do the same wash on a different model. And then we'll hit him when we're all done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 3 drops of speed paint medium. 2, 3. And I've got more of these, the like hell satyr guys, so we're gonna do those with our wash first. So gonna get in there and mix it up, and then we slap it on, and then work it around. So last week we did that scatter terrain. I also have that here on my table too. So we could also take a look at that if we wanted as well. Because last week we built that scatter terrain, like scratch built it, and that was very fun. So I hadn't scratch built anything in a long time. I'd like scratch built some like hell rocks. Those just ended up getting thrown away. I was not feeling those at all, to be honest. After the stream, just was like, not happy with these. So they got thrown away. But the like barricades we made, I liked those a lot. So those all got kept. And they got primed actually last night. So, all right, just gonna work around our way around the different guys before we get back to our dwarfy. Oh, I forgot to paint the bone on this guy's hip. Shit. Okay. I have to do that a little bit. He's got one of those customized or kip-ashed pouches that we grabbed from the Knowles kit. Yeah, so this year was my year of like multi-part plastics, right? Every year I kind of try to pick a like a project or a theme. So this was my year of like multi-part plastics, where I got like just a shit ton of multi-part plastics. I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. Honestly, I really enjoyed the multi-part plastics. They're very fun. So honestly, I might actually just keep going with them. But like the year before that, it was Conquest, and then we had a bunch of Kings of War stuff one year, and then we had Fallout one year. The Fallout stuff is fun. I could go back to Fallout. That's a fun game, and it's a fun setting to do design wise for. War Games Atlantic also just put out a shit ton of like modern kind of like survival kits, like operators and like riders and stuff. So doing something modern might also be neat, but I don't know. Just kind of enjoying the fantasy at the moment, to be honest. So yeah, everyone and their brother is like gossiping about Blackout right now, but I don't know. The pseudo modern setting doesn't speak to me. I think I'm probably going to stay away from it because of that. Because it's just kind of, I don't know, like dudes with guns. There's some robots, which is cool, but Like if I want robots, I'm just gonna play BattleTech, you know? I'll play a game all about the robots. But it is supposed to be very popular. It is extremely popular right now. Also next year coming out is there's gonna be a StarCraft game coming out. And I've never really played tons of like the StarCraft like computer game. I played a shit ton of Blizzard games. StarCraft was never really one of those. Um, my husband played a whole bunch of StarCraft, but I was not. The whole RTS thing, I'm just really bad at it. Like, comically bad. Um, so because of that, it kind of keeps me out of those games, out of the RTS kind of genre and stuff. So, um, but it's made by Archon Studios, which is super dope. I love Archon. They're a company out of Poland. They actually make or they produce a whole bunch of Kings of War stuff now. They also produce all the Dungeons and Laser stuff, and actually make that. They design those as well. They don't design the Kings of War stuff. Um, yeah. All right. Everybody needs to drive for a minute before we show him off. So let's take a look at one of our barricades that we were working on before. So here's all three of the barricades, how they wound up. Right? We'll take a look or two at some of these. Kind of fun. Some of that leather brown again, right? To make stuff look like a barricade, we'll swap in some we'll swap in a different color for some of this wood. It'll make it look more like a barricade. Like pick one of the streaks out and do it in like, I don't know, the dark brown or something like that. That's what we'll do. Stuff all was kind of top coated or primed, so it shouldn't suck up that much paint. But like wood is very notorious for absorbing paint, especially hoppy paint, because the pigment's so small. It makes it very easy for wood to absorb it. So it's one of the reasons people use like craft paint and stuff when they're doing a lot of scratch bashing. It's because you're not painting miniatures, so people like to save a dime when they can, kind of thing. Um, but I've got it here, so we're gonna use it. Yeah, so just fun times. Making these was a lot of fun. I had a really good time with that, with the foam and everything. I haven't done that in a long time, so it was kind of nostalgic and just like different and enjoyable, right? Um, if you ever do wind up in a position where like you're a little burnt out from your hobby, novelty helps a lot. Your brain really likes novel things. So, um, if you give it something different, even like, oh, I'm gonna paint I'm not going to paint a Space Marine today. I'm going to paint a Stormcast Eternal, right? Which there's not much difference between, but even something as little as that kind of difference can make a huge deal to your brain finding interest in things. And it's very fascinating. I've seen a lot of like hobby burnout videos come out recently, um, and that fact alone interests me. The fact that people are making so many videos about it, I find, I don't know, just kind of enthralling, right? Like there's almost this feeling I think a lot of people have that they have to do their hobby, right? Like it's a requirement, right? Um, and that's interesting, because it's like as a leisure activity. Um, it's not really any requirements like that, so but it's very easy for us to get into a point where we kind of see like we have to do this or have to do this or have to get this done or whatever, right? And that's an interesting mental battle, right? And I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all. I think that's be a real challenge battling that like get it done mentality, right? Instead of enjoying the action that you're doing currently. Yeah, just interesting stuff. I think for a lot of people, especially people that mainly play GW games, there is also an element of like sunk cost fallacy, right? Like, I spent this money, I should do this thing. Like, this was a thing I wanted, like, I should do the thing with it. Um, but in truth, really, there's no value in any kind of guilt like that, right? Like, any kind of self guilting in that regard, right? If anything, it actually just stands in the way of you doing it if you feel that, because then you're not going to pursue or want to think about something that could potentially make you feel bad, right? Like even if it isn't actively, the fact that it could make you feel bad, you won't want to pursue that. It's one of the reasons that like comparison is the thief of joy, I guess, is the phrase I've heard said, and I think there's a lot of truth to that, especially in mini painting where you kind of really should be painting in a way that you enjoy to a standard you enjoy, right? Um, in a method that you enjoy, right? Like, because like I can paint non-metallic metal, but I fucking hate doing it. I just don't like the necessary. Like, I much more prefer to like make kind of grungy, kind of dirty models. Like, I don't know. That speaks to me way more, right? Having something that looks cool on the table versus something that looks amazing on Instagram. That speaks to me more as well. But that's not to people that paint for Instagram and stuff. That's awesome, right? If that's what they want to do. But I don't know. Not always me. It is fun every now and then to kind of push yourself to do new methods and stuff and look at a model and be like, wow, I did that. That's really good. That's really fun. But doing that every time, uh, it puts kind of this tax on your enjoyment. I feel like it makes it really hard. All right, let's oh. Okay, I gotta figure out a different way to sit with head camera. Oh, or maybe not use it constantly when I'm painting. I see head camera I really got for playing game. I think it's gonna be like a game changer for that. Um, I think sitting there, for an hour hunched over with head camera, oh, probably a little rough, but we'll see. All right, let's check our guy out. See how he's coming. All right. Ooh. He's very shiny. That will sort itself out after he dries a little bit more. He's very shiny. Um, hmm. What else would I like to do to this guy? He's gonna get some slaughter red on all of his red parts, but he needs to finish drying before then. He's definitely not dry, especially in his face. We could try rusting him up a little bit, but honestly, he's such warm tones already, and so are like these guys. Like the other imps and stuff. They're such warm tones that I don't think rusting him up is going to be a good idea. I think it'll be counterintuitive. Although I really want to like, I would like to do rust on the scale mail. You know what I mean? Just because it would be fun, but rusting him up would kind of pull away from him. Um, so honestly, I think we're probably going to call him done, and then he'll get the slaughter red on his face when he's all ready. Um, and then he'll end up looking like this guy here when he's all done. Yeah. So we'll have some kind of like evil dwarves to go with the rest of our monsters and stuff. So yeah, nice. All right, well I'm gonna go ahead and call it there then. Um, let's look at the other ones that I did the wash on. Yeah, these guys are much more dry than he is. I need to paint their eyes in as well. You can see their eyes aren't painted in. I gotta paint their eyes in. Um, and let's see, yeah. Too much wash on that guy's clavicle there. Yeah, same thing with this guy. So these guys, they'll actually get that red as well. Actually, you know what? Let's do one of these with that red, just so you can see it. I feel like this little bit of red just it helps, right? Because I want to do the red skin, but the red skin is kind of intense. You know what I mean? So I feel like a little bit of the speed paint over the red base is nice. I feel like it darkens it down, just adds a little bit of modeling. Um, I feel like it's just a nice addition overall to like red skin, right? And this slaughter red color is super dope. Should do some like blood and stuff on their weapons now that I think about it. I never think to paint gore on things. I don't know why I don't. But yeah, I guess demons probably wouldn't clean their weapons that much, huh? They'd probably be all about the gore on their weapons. I think the last thing I painted gore on was probably some the corn berserkers, or maybe my stuff from Conquest for the what are they called? I want to call them the Almeri Dominion, but that's incorrect. the zombie like the zombie undead faction that were god that became the god of undeath. What the fuck are they called? Oh, it's gonna bug me. Old Dominion. That's what they're called. I was close. Um, yeah. So yeah, you can see the red just it adds a little bit of nice extra red, and that's cool. I like that. Now I have to come back and I have to hit these guys' eyes. Because I've been giving them black eyes like, animals have, like sheep have and stuff. So all right, where's our dwarfy? There he is. Yep, just get a little bit of this on there. I don't know. I like the tone of this red. I feel like it makes it a little bit darker, a little bit easier in the eyes, kind of thing. And yeah, and there's our dwarf all completed. There's our dwarf, ready for the rest of my hell, guys. So he'll get based up the same way these guys are, and he will join their legion of dwarfy slaughter. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for dealing with me while I played around with headcam for the first time. Next time should definitely be streaming a game with headcam. I think it'll go really well. With headcam, I think it'll be really good for game streaming. So yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have